You are listening to the Creative Talks podcast, presented by the Architectural Authority magazine.
Holistic is beautiful. Holistic is again is a whole. Is all the dimensions of wellness that we have. So we have, the physical, the emotional, we have the social, we have finance, and right there also in all of those like 8 dimensions, one that is very special is the environment. So that proves that even if we have, let's say, a good diet, we have a good routine for exercise, but we have a space that is not going to support us, guess what? Either we're going to get sick and we're not going to be balanced, and we're not. That's why I like to bring this the holistic, all of the holistic, like the dimensions, all the parts that come with us as humans, and then extend that into our homes or into the places where we work.
This video is brought to you by the Stones and More Group, a leading wholesale distributor with over 2 decades providing top-quality porcelain, ceramic, slabs, mosaics, panels, and building materials, crafted to transform any space.
Welcome to Creative Talks. I'm especially thankful for the opportunity to sit down with today's incredible guest. Aimee is the visionary behind IC Designs by Aimee and the holistic interior design community, a movement that's redefining how we think about the spaces we live in. She's also an inspiring educator in the University of Miami's interior design program, where she's guiding the next generation to look beyond the surface and understand how design shapes our well being. With her background rooted in both interior design and human wellness, Aimee is passionate about the impact of environments that they have in our minds and our bodies and spirits. By bringing together neuroscience, psychology, and soulful energy work, she helps clients and fellow designers move beyond aesthetics into spaces that truly heal and support us. Today, we'll explore how she integrates empathy, the 33 senses, and even personality types into her design process, and why she believes the future of design must be more conscious and deeply human. So, whether you are a designer, a creative, or simply someone craving spaces that feel better, not only look better, this conversation will give you fresh insight into what it really means to live well by design. Let's dive in. Thank you. I'm super excited.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I feel like we can go super deep in this 45 minutes.
Yes. And
yeah,
there's
and I
a lot
love
to
that.
talk. There's
Yes,
a lot.
I have my own things to share with you in this regard. But I would like to start from the beginning. I want to know you from when you decided that this was your field, because there's a lot of passion in what you do. So you probably understood early in your life
Yes.
that this was your path. So tell me about that.
Yeah, well, I like to bring my background because I think within the world of interior design, there's obviously a lot of creativity. And I was raised, my mother is a fashion designer. So I was raised already
on design.
yeah, in design.
In design.
And that's what I tell my students when they come to classes. I tell them, well, it doesn't matter what type, if you're a graphic designer, fashion designer, you already are learning about the principles and the elements of design, which are the things that we like to play with.
Because you see a lot of students moving from one field to the other
Yes.
in the creative
Yes,
environment.
yes, actually, yes, in the interior design certificate program that we have, I would say the average age is 35, 37, and it is a beautiful experience because then you can see how people actually coming from very different backgrounds. You will be
Wow.
surprised. Finance, medicine, attorneys,
And
but
they go for a second career
for a
because they
second, yeah,
want to
second
pursue
career.
what they love.
Yes. And then a lot of, like what you're saying, a lot of people coming from the field of fashion, especially. And I would say that today we are experiencing that those two worlds are merging a lot
Totally.
in the field of, we see right now in the retail, in the stores, how they're bringing more of the elements of home in the stores so that we have
And
that
you
feel.
need to right now they're selling experiences
Yes,
for consumers, so it has to do a lot with the environment. and how
Correct.
they set up their stores, and everything is super, super integrated. Yes, that's
It's
true.
integrated. And what I love about what is happening nowadays is that we are in a moment in time where we all know technology is a big player.
Yeah,
And I think that we as humans, we kind of like counterbalance that. And that's why we're looking at all of these
it's true.
movements.
There is like what, how do you call it? People is thirsty
Yes.
for the human.
The human touch, the
Yeah,
human contact,
yeah.
because we are humans. And then we
Right.
need to
And
remember
then we
that.
were isolated so much
Yes.
with technology because of COVID, and then everybody stayed that route,
Mhm.
that it feels like everyone wants to feel human again, to connect again,
Yeah.
and they value more the spaces to connect.
That's right. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's right. Like we have that natural instinct, like you say, to connect, to
Mm-hmm.
socialize. And I'm
It's
not against technology. I think that's here to stay and to move forward. And we need just to learn how to navigate with it. But most important, take advantage of the moment where these trends, with which we should not call it trends, meaning like focusing on wellness,
mm-hmm.
but it came a little bit before with the green movement,
True.
sustainability, and finally, since last year, at least in Salon de Mobili in Milan,
Mm-hmm.
they start now talking about
Yes.
wellness, and more like this holistic feel. That's
Yes.
where I am very, very passionate about it because it connects us. So that's what is
Mm-hmm.
important.
But we moved totally from where we were going to.
Yeah.
Talking
Okay.
about your
Yeah.
first
True.
years in.
Yeah. I so then I started studying fashion showmanship.
Okay.
And it's like, what is that? Well, it's everything that is related with behind the cameras. So
Okay.
learning to design for visual merchandising, fashion shows,
Oh
theaters.
wow.
Yes.
We can give you a job here at the
Yeah,
magazine.
right.
Yeah.
But then, back then, and that one was an AA, so it
Mm-hmm.
was not even a 4 year program. And something interesting happened, and I guess I was always being in tune with what I feel,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt that by being raised with a mother where literally I was, in manufacturing plants, then stores, and always surrounded with that, you learn so much. And it was something natural to me. But I said, oh, one day maybe I'm going to have my own business. And I don't know how I'm going to do. Maybe I should follow more the business. I finished in marketing and
Wow.
then did a master's in international business. And here I am, like being an entrepreneur. Then time passed by.
But
And
that's good
yes,
because we sometimes lack on that,
a
on the
lot.
business part. So
Yeah.
it's really good that
Yeah.
you had
Yeah.
that.
And then I decided to definitely, to go back. I was for some years in the fashion field, but then yeah, my true passion was, designing spaces. Then I had my son. I was alone with my son here, raising
And
him
how
here.
did you discover that? Because you
Which
had
part?
to do his you're the baby
uh,
nursery, or how did you discover, you know what, I need to design spaces?
Yeah, well, when I started going with my mom to New York and the showrooms, to because we have to choose collections, and which is fascinating. That's
Mm-hmm.
the fun part. People think, oh, fashion is so easy, and it's just that. No, it's a lot. It's like
Yeah.
design. We see the
Right.
final product, but you don't know
Uh-huh.
what it's behind
the
it.
the process.
And I was just mesmerized with the spaces. It was so beautiful, each showroom, and kind of like the personality even within each
Mm-hmm.
line. And so I was always fascinated by the spaces, and most important, how they make me feel. I'm a highly sensitive person, so I can sense every single detail around me, and more important, it really changes me inside. And
Wow.
then by discovering moving later, we will talk about that probably
Uh-huh.
later, why I was so fascinated by learning more about neuroscience and psychology, because we need to understand how we're wired, who we are, and
Mm-hmm.
understand that the space is just connected.
Super
It's always it's
connected,
going to
super
have it
connected.
has a huge impact also in our internal
I
environment.
want to give you an anecdote. before opening my studio, I worked at a firm for many years, specifying materials for the trade.
Okay.
I was their advisor for the big hospitality projects and all that. And one thing that always happened during that time is that when they moved us from office to office, from one floor to the other, I
Mhm.
had, in order to be motivated to sell, in order to be motivated to work every day, I had to have a beautiful office,
Of course.
and I would spread this feeling to everybody, and I will do any campaign necessary to put a mural in the office,
Yes.
to change things around, to add a little bit of plants, a little. So it was always important to me. Like you
Mhm.
said, you are sensitive. I am too, and
Mhm.
I need to be surrounded with everything that brings my energy up.
Mhm.
So we can do that. We change the cafeteria, we change every office. Like I said, I had a mural wall that I would change every month. So those things were innate, but those are part of a field that it's being studied
Yes.
and more
Aesthetics.
confirmed
Yeah.
that your environment affects your mood.
Correctly. What you just said something very important, and it's about the aesthetics. That it goes beyond what people might think is, shallow, superficial, but no, aesthetics. Worldwide, culturally, there are some, let's say, characteristics that
Hmm.
need to happen in order for everybody. Doesn't matter your cultural background, that you find beautiful.
Hmm.
And what you were saying, then going back, then when you listen to people who are doing the research about how the evolution of our brain, and people when they live in the caves, and you think about it, and they have to go out, let's say we had to go out and find the better fruits, right? And how we define that, if we have a fruit that it was beautiful, not ripe, like, or the perfect,
Hmm.
just aesthetically, and then if you think about it, it also comes from back then. So we start even selecting, if we have two things with the same value, but one,
It's
same value,
prettier
but
than the
one
other.
has, the beauty, these aesthetics that it makes you choose that one over
Mhm.
the other one. So it's something that, like you say, is natural. It comes natural, and it's beautiful because it raises our energy, makes us feel
Yeah.
it changes our mood.
Your productivity, it's elevated everything around
Yes.
it. And if not everybody is aware and not everybody wants to be aware, or I don't know, but if you visit probably a person that has a business for 30 years and they have the same office full of books,
Yeah.
everything cluttered, that's that's terrible for
Mhm.
you,
Mhm.
and that's toxic, I would say. So that's what people need to be aware of.
Yeah, there's different ways to analyze that, because then we have to come into, let's say, the type of personalities, the level of sensitivity, and how you are wired.
Wow.
So once you learn all of that, we, as designers, and that's what I think we should start advocating more, like in the fields of architecture and interior design, to have more classes where they teach us how our brain works, and the way that our brain, the main role of the brain is to keep us alive, right? Survival. At the same token, the brain, it's like, is the logistics center, where everything is sending signals from the brain to the body to the brain. That's when you mentioned at the beginning the 33 senses. Yes,
Mhm.
we have more than five senses. Up to today, and I said today because the technology keep moving
We
forward,
can
but today
discover
they
more.
have, yeah, they have
33. Give me some more
33.
after 5.
Yeah, there's the five that we know, and then there's something called interoception, which are all of our internal organs. And the internal organs are constantly sending information to the brain,
Mhm.
and those signals. And then according to all of that, there's a lot of chemicals going on, not only the
Mhm.
electrical discharges that happens in our brain, that's the way the brain communicates, right?
Mhm.
But then all of this is going to make us feel something, to have an emotion, then to have a
Mhm.
feeling, and those are parts of the senses. So there's some there, and there's also proprioception, which is that, related with wayfinding and how we find our space, ourselves in the space. But just to give you an example, Cindy, imagine that you're right now doing this interview with me, and probably you haven't eaten the whole day, and you're very, very
That's
hungry.
super true.
See, so okay, so I hope that we're okay and on the right path, because what happens is that we need to be aware of everything, that it's, how we feel is everything. It's not only, like our brain or our mindset or, the mood, but the mood. And that's the interesting part, that a lot of the things that happen within us are at a very unconscious level. If you know that we get all the information from the environment, absolutely everything, the environment is emitting signals constantly, right? And how we read this through our senses. Then from the senses goes to first the lower brain or the primitive brain, where the emotions, and that's the first part, where everybody, that's why when you go to a place, it's in seconds. You don't really think through, but there's something already that you want to approach or you want to avoid.
Avoid. True.
And if you avoid, it's because something in that environment trigger something, right? Either, physically, or maybe then, especially at the beginning in the lower brain is instinct.
It's
And
a recall from
yeah,
experience.
it's just the survival mode first here. And then is after, then it goes to, let's say, the executive brain, the upper brain. And that's where now your cultural background, how you were raised, and then the experiences that you have in life. That's then you make an evaluation of that, and then the feelings are the ones that are going to come
That
up. And
happens in nanoseconds.
yeah, exactly. That's so fast. But what is interesting, and for us designers, is to once we start understanding all of that, like I teach, like when I put a little bit of these things in my classes, even the regular classes, but I like to bring as much information as I can. And I tell them, when you go out with the client, and the client, is so excited with you when we have that day going to visit in the
Right.
showroom. Oh, yes, I like this.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
in that,
yeah.
well, you're doing, you're making decisions based on those first,
Happy moments.
instant, the happy moment, the dopamine right now,
Uh-huh.
because it's not, so then
Yeah. There's
is
like
is
an
now the
emotion
dopamine
there.
rush.
Yeah.
Yes. And then that's why sometimes you see that next day
They change
they
their
thought
mind.
they might change, they might say they
Mm-hmm.
talked so. And I tell them that, I always tell the clients, and I always, since now I learned all of this, I try to make sure that when we're gonna go out that day, it's a good day, they feel good, I feel good. We need to be aware of all of that. But the thing is that we're not conscious. We 95% of our life, we're just walking by
And
unconsciously.
I'm such an I get excited of everything. No?
Hmm.
So I'm always in the happy mode.
Me
I'm
too.
always in the happy mode. And then you tell me tomorrow we're gonna do this job and you're gonna be hired. Blah, blah, blah." So that day I'm the happiest person alive. The next day they tell me no, and I just let it go. Oh,
Okay,
okay, it's
that's
fine.
great.
So I love to live emotions even though they last one day or an instant.
Okay, okay, that's perfect.
I'm
That's
conscious of that. Yeah,
that no, but that's great, and that's part of your personality,
yeah.
which it's really it's great. Not everybody will react the
Yeah,
same
for some
way.
people they will get depressed. I had it. Oh my god.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
So
And then yeah, the process of making decisions and making decisions for our spaces. I mean, there's so much. This
yeah.
is if we would understand that, even you as a designer, when we go, we have our first, I call it now, dates with the
Mhm.
client. Because when you start getting to know the
True.
client,
Mhm.
they're giving, like all of us, we're all
Mhm.
human, we're putting our best
Mhm.
face, oh, everything is like, and they say they know what they want. Very few, they tell you right in front, really, I am lost, I don't know. But some, they think they know what they want, and you go out with that impression. And that's what I tell also the students. You really have to ask a lot of questions that go even beyond
Totally.
beyond the just the aesthetics,
Uh-huh.
gathering the
I ask about their
pictures.
family, what they do, their
Correct.
weekends,
How they do, I
uh-huh.
say, like I tell them,
Their
tell me
hobbies,
how is, like, how
everything.
you function in this space. That's extremely important. What they do, and something else that I add to it, if they want and if they allow me, because not everybody is open to that, because you you have to go very deep and more personal, and it's asking also questions about, it's like the personality. We need to go deeper. We need to see what is the level of sensitivity that you have, and
Mhm.
then when you are designing for a family, it becomes even more interesting because now
Super,
now you have
super
other
challenging,
different
super challenging,
personalities,
and
and
everybody's
yes,
opinion could be different
different.
sometimes. But I think we have it in ourselves. Maybe most of the designers have that psychology
Yes.
intrinsic,
Hmm.
because we kind of go out couple dates, and then we come with the presentation, and most of the time it's accurate
Hmm.
because we could read
Hmm.
something, and
Hmm.
this presentation is totally different than the other one, so it's not my style in there.
Right.
So there is something intrinsic. So imagine if we would all develop or learn
More.
all of those capacities or all of
Yeah.
those connections, or understand this would be incredible.
I think what happens, Cindy, and probably, I'm guessing here by just by what you have told me and what I've seen from you in the very few times that we have met. I mean, I
Not
really think
many.
that you're
We've
very,
seen ourselves
yeah,
twice.
yeah,
Yeah.
that you're very, you're also somebody who is, like you say, very sensitive, and you're picking up, but not, unfortunately, and you know it too. Not all the designers,
Mhm,
they have died. They're not wired like that.
mhm.
Let's put it that way. And there's different agendas behind it. What is it like? When there's different type of designers as well.
Mhm.
I tell the students to, and it's okay. Everybody, it's allowed to. Let's say there's we call it the divas
Yeah.
designers. You know
There's
that.
also the businesswomen,
Yes,
and
that's a
they
business.
will charge
Yes.
you every second of their time, because, and I admire that because I
Hmm.
am not able to do it. But there is many, yeah,
Different ways
different
of
personalities.
approaching
Yep.
the thing, but what I am really concerned is about, especially when you are designing for residential, if we
Hmm.
would understand the impact.
Yep.
And again, 95% of the time we are unconscious. See, the 95%. Okay. um the Well, when you start learning a little bit more about neuroscience, and they repeat it in the research and things that they have done, and they say, like, our lower brain gets 11 million bits per second of information. 11 million bits per second of information, the lower brain, and only 50 is not a mistake, it's conscious. So that's why I say 95%. And guess
Wow.
what? I learned this even when I was studying fashion and fashion
Hmm.
merchandising and marketing. I took a class in psychology geared to how we were going to design stores. And I knew that back then that the field of advertising, as we would know, they already were looking for research about how to, we're going to manipulate people to
Right.
do whatever. That's the whole point of
Hmm.
advertising. And then also, what is the point of us in a retail store? Because remember, in the retail stores, is you're going to make decisions by the second, again, just
Hmm.
with that first emotions.
Right.
And if you know how to manage the spaces, well, guess what?
You're
We
gonna
know how
sell a
people are going to
lot.
behave,
Yeah.
and it's all related. Well, the same. So, even from then, I said, Now
Hmm.
time passed by, and now I started learning about neuroscience and architecture, neuroscience and aesthetics. There's neuroaesthetics, or neuroscience and art right now,
Hmm.
neuroscience and sound. So thank God for the field of neuroscience to come out and
An
start
opener.
teaching
Yeah.
us, as much as possible, which I think is very important, because it was only more for before, for, again, more like, I would say, advertising, politics, they know all
Mm.
of this, how to manipulate. It's very important.
Now
But
I understand.
Mm. But if we understand then that
It's a
the
big
impact in our
force.
homes
Mhm.
and in the places where we work, that we also spend a lot of time. What about hospitals? What about the schools, the
Right.
school system?
Yeah.
Only some privileged schools that they follow other,
Mhm.
like the designs that are more, I would say, holistic
Mhm.
and more
They
into
invest
wellness.
in
It's
this,
completely
and
different.
and they have different rates
Yeah.
probably at schools.
Yeah. So what
Mhm.
about for the elderly as well? All of
Yep.
this housing, like all of the. So I think if designers will learn more about what's going on, again, we will have a different approach, and the main goal would be at least to propose a design that is focused again on wellness, and at least if you don't know, then you don't cause damage, because you can cause a lot of damage
Yes,
by having a poor design.
that's true.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think that's one of the most important things that I would like to give to, especially to the young designers, to keep learning more about the
Mhm.
psychology also design. What is it? And yes, the field of neuroscience and architecture, because there's a lot of things that is not. I also say this also in the events that I have in the community. Please remember, I'm bringing you some research data, and all the research in the world will have agendas too. There are going to be some scientists proving something and others on the
Proving
opposite.
you wrong.
But you, as a
Trying to.
designer with your client, the client is not one size fits all. So you really need to make sure. And that's why you see that probably in your life, you have never done the same design twice,
No.
ever.
And you're gonna think that I'm saying this because you're here, but I want to tell you my first approach to design when I decided I have to go solo and I have to do this was because I had lost my father and my grandmother. I had a very dark,
Yeah.
deep moment
Yeah.
that opened my spirituality, my
Okay.
human side,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt that I needed to help others.
Mm-hmm.
That was my reaction to my pain.
Mm-hmm.
If I help others, I get
Yeah.
healed.
Of course.
That was what I felt. So I used my talents or what I got
Mm-hmm. Your
uh,
skills and talents. Yeah.
in order to serve. That was my message on my first post on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram. Like, let's use design as a way to heal
Yeah.
you through spaces. So that was my first approach, and then in the long run, some people, we did some of that, and then others just because it's a luxury
Mm-hmm.
service and they want to have their pretty house. But I really connect with the ones that are needy.
Yeah.
Yep. And my first commission was a family that had lost their daughter and the husband in the Surfside building,
Okay.
and it was so strong for me. The
Mm-hmm.
emotions that came
Yeah.
out of that.
Mm-hmm.
We cried. I almost quit several times.
Mm.
Today, she has healed through
That's
the colors of the
beautiful.
house, through the peace that you feel in the house. We had to play, but it all came natural to me. I had that mission in my life,
That's
and it
beautiful.
came. And we're all really good friends, and we see each other often. So there's something that I could give to that family in order to live a little better.
That's
And
and
that's
that's the
the
whole
mission.
point. That's the whole point of design, and we should be doing that. And I advocate a lot for residential. A lot
Hmm.
of people, especially that study architecture, they go for commercial, and it's a completely different
Yep.
way of managing design, right? But when you go into residential, you really have to deal with, again, like a lot of personalities, a lot of situations
Yeah.
where, and that's my goal. That's why I call it holistic.
Hmm.
I know in the field of science, the holistic word, unfortunately, has come, with some
Yeah.
negative.
Why? I
Unfortunately,
don't
I don't know,
understand.
because they think like when I say, "Oh, you're a holistic
Yeah,
interior
you're
designer,"
against medicine. You are
well, you're
against
gonna be
this and that.
probably chanting and
Uh
putting
huh.
sage all over it, and ooh. No, I mean, it's like,
It's
yes,
like
you can
it,
do
it
that.
kind of represent beliefs, but not necessarily. It's
It's more than that. I mean, holistic is beautiful. Holistic is again, is a whole. All the dimensions of wellness that we have. So we have, the physical, the emotional. We have the social. We have finance, and right there also in all of those like 8 dimensions, one that is very special is the environment.
Mhm.
So that proves that even if we have, let's say, a good diet, we have a good routine for exercise, but we have a space that is not going to support us, guess
Mhm.
what? Either
You're
we're going to
still
get
gonna get
sick
sick.
and we're not going to be balanced, and we're not. That's why I like to bring the holistic. All of the holistic, like the dimensions, all the parts that come with us as humans, and then extend that into our homes or into the places
Yeah.
where we work.
It's just one of the ingredients to live better
Yes,
that we're bringing in. But they also need to do their part and
of
do
course.
exercise and eat well. So
Of course.
it's
Of
a
course.
whole, like you
But
said.
I would say that we are like the doctors for
For the
The
spaces.
spaces,
Yes.
for the spaces, because
Totally agree with you.
yeah, so
Mhm.
and I love that, the sensibility that you have, and I think that people people can sense that, people. And then what at this point in my life, I would say I'm lucky enough to be able also to see this, and I really want to connect with people and be able to, for them to allow me to enter into their world and then bring as much as I can to provide that, I would say healing, because I think we, as humans, we always, hopefully, we all want to become better human beings,
Right.
right? So we have self development journey,
Uh-huh.
and that's what I'm interested in. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm interested in going to, and that's why I call the community holistic,
Yeah.
because it's just a lifestyle too,
Yes.
in general.
And if we analyze, let's say, like I said before, our services for luxurious, for a luxe living sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody with a high ego comes and wants to hire you just because I want the best this, the best that. There's even opportunity for us to help them be the better
Yeah.
version of themselves
Mm-hmm.
by whatever we're
Well, by
doing.
the spaces, remember, we know
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
So we truly know, and I love what you're saying. Sometimes I work for clients that, they're, probably that, their goals, it says they're
And
different.
they're in a different moment and there's no human connection for them, but we open their eyes
I
somehow.
think, yes, I think that, one of the things that I always like to ask, is like, or also to the clients, to really, or to try to find out, yeah, who they are, what are their values, what is the story that we're gonna tell in your home.
Hmm.
And when you, depending on how you ask those questions, that's when you start finding the answers. And then what happens sometimes is that we as humans, sometimes we're really lost, Cindy. We don't even know who we are. And we
Yeah.
just start, we get distracted by so many things right now in life,
Hmm.
right? That sometimes we just, again, driven, by other things and not being centered. And that's why I think is, and I call it not center, balance.
Hmm.
We're always going to be, this is,
Yeah.
we live in this world, and sometimes, we're going to be, some days are going to be better than
Yes.
others. Sometimes we're lacking
It's
in,
not
in a
linear.
dimension. Yeah,
It's like
sometimes,
this.
we have personal lives that are going great, sometimes not, sometimes
Yeah.
it's the profession. So it's all of that. And to me, I think everything is about trying to get a good balance. And
Hmm.
in design, when do we have a beautiful balance, then what? I think one
Yeah.
is the most beautiful principles of design, right?
Yeah. Balance. Totally.
Balance,
Hmm.
balance. It could be symmetrical,
Right.
asymmetrical, but there's
Uh-huh.
balance. And I
Yeah.
think that's the key. And when you start asking the clients, and really make them connect with the spaces, because then the key is that when we're designing, and let's say, I don't know, when you were designing this space, right, you already had your intention, right?
Right.
When you're looking at this, the piece of art, or when I'm looking behind you at that
Uh,
beautiful,
Panel. Oh,
yeah,
the lamp.
the
Yeah.
lamp that is, is artisanal, and then it's
Right.
like it's natural,
Yeah.
and it's, it's like,
It kind of describes me
yeah,
because this is my personal
yeah, yeah.
taste. It's
Mm.
not what I'm gonna do for a client because maybe there are other.
But you know what you're
But it,
doing right now? Like if somebody's sitting here like me, and then what I see is like I have the wood paneling, and I have also then fabric. It's like you say, like, and you told me before when you were arranging the space here, I'm the one here humanizing the space. And that's what I tell when we humanizes the spaces with fabrics, with
with
feel like
textures,
natural
with
materials, or
plants,
at least that
with
they, even if let's say it's not natural, but it looks like,
uh-huh,
like wood, then
with
what happens?
touches like
Exactly. So that's, then what happens to the person who is sitting here?
he feels good.
I'm more
He
relaxed.
feels relaxed. Yeah.
I'm not thinking about it, but I'm already, I mean, besides
Hmm.
your presence, I mean, you really have this charm, really. And it's
Thank
not
you.
because, but you have it.
Thank you.
And that, and the space, when I was sitting even here before a little bit, I said, you are such a warm person. I mean, and it tells everything that you have put in the space.
My house is just like that, and I feel like my personality, or either I did it because that's how I feel, or I need to feel. I need
Hmm.
to feel calm, balanced,
Yeah.
in order for me to create, to give to my kids, to give to my
Yeah.
family. So I think I knew what I need, and we need to discover what the client needs in order to
Exactly.
get the best of them.
Exactly. Yeah,
Hmm.
the connection. You just got it. That's it. It's the connection, and you said it because you're in tune with yourself. And I think that's what makes us be able, like you said, in order for anybody to give, we need to be filled up. And
Hmm.
we need to be balanced,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So, yeah, that's it. I mean, you got it naturally, instinctively.
Yes, thank you for telling me this because now I understand myself. Because everybody tells me, but you keep the same color palette throughout the house. And I said, yes, I know there's a million options out there, but that's what keeps
Yeah.
me balanced.
Grounded
That's what
and
keeps me.
grounded, yeah. And sometimes depending on the different personalities, that's when it gets fascinating, because we need to start understanding that probably what it's something that keeps me in balance. For somebody else, for example, somebody who is an extrovert, they're usually the life of a party. They're like,
Hmm.
they're
And they
used
need a
to.
lot of color, and they
Right.
need a lot
They,
of
they because the level of sensitive is
maybe the
different. Of
light,
the stimulation
things
is
like that.
completely different,
Yes.
and we need, as designers, to understand that.
Hmm.
So it's not like, that's when I said, like, we cannot be just the designer that is my style or the highway. No,
Uh-huh.
it's like I come.
We're
In my
instruments,
case, it's like I'm serving.
right?
It's a service. It's like I'm serving the client in the sense of trying to connect them with the spaces, so the spaces can support them.
Can you imagine that we've gone 35 minutes and I haven't even touched my iPad for questions? This is such a beautiful conversation
Oh.
that when you asked me, you have questions that we can prepare, I said no.
Mm.
The best talks are really natural. But I still have so many things I want to ask you. Like
Okay.
how you ended up being an educator. What
Yes.
took you there?
Um, well, when I started going back again, finishing, I did the international business master's degree. I was still working in fashion, in the fashion field. Here in Miami wasn't, let's say, the best at back then. It was more everything in New York or Los
Okay.
Angeles. And you will be surprised, because then I said I started working at UPS. And you're like, what? Yeah, in the marketing department, in business development. And right there, somebody, a manager, says, do you want to be in the training department? And I said, oh my God, of course. I was freaking out. Imagine, I was still learning English. I came from Colombia. I
Okay.
learned English, but I said, and then she says, yes, because the thing is that we need people to speak Spanish and, English. So they sent me to fabulous trainings. Fabulous. I mean, I cannot, incredible. And so into how to deliver trainings. Mainly, it's like teaching. And was very young, and well, I kept that with me. um just years, right, a couple of years after, that's when I decided, no, I'm going to become independent, because I had my son, and I said I want to be present in my life's son, and being in a multinational didn't allow me to do that.
Right.
So that's how I started actually in the field of interior design. And you're going to love how, because I had the background in fashion. So I said I felt comfortable starting doing closets, doing the
Mm-hmm.
image consulting, let's say, with putting together
Okay.
everything in the closets, then the
Right.
masters, and then the main bedrooms, and then so forth. I started moving.
In order to put the pieces
Yeah, yeah. And
that you were
then,
always surrounded with.
yeah, yeah. And then right after, I had the first opportunity to teach actually a class in business in the University of Miami back then, and I did
In business.
in business. Imagine. So that's what I
Wow.
tell everybody. I think all of our backgrounds are always
It's so important
it's
for
they're
us to
always
be
a
who we
plus.
are.
It
There is
doesn't
always
matter what
and
but
there's
you
always
learn.
a reason why you
Yeah,
had that first and
yeah.
mhm.
And then years after, they are now practicing more interior design, and I love teaching also. So I said, you know what, I would love to really, to see if it's possible. And I start applying until, one day,
They
actually
call
they
you.
they called me, and it was funny because it was literally like this, like, oh, we need, somebody's like in 2 weeks. And I had the opportunity. It's like, you're going to be assisting professor that back then, Nancy Cromar, from she's a Harvard degree architect. And I was literally, I was like, oh my, I didn't sleep. The whole night. I was
I
like,
believe you.
oh my
That's
God.
how things happen to me.
Yeah.
Where you jump and you just go.
I was able to start with her, and after that now I'm gonna be 10 years teaching, and I had the opportunity to
Wow.
teach in person, which it was fascinating. And then
Virtually.
COVID came.
Uh-huh.
Same thing. Next week you're on Zoom. I'm like, what? So Zoom? What is that?
Hmm.
so,
And right now you have a mix?
so I have, yes, I do. I still teach. I teach
Mm-hmm.
in the evenings or some Saturdays, and I have a practice because I do have clients. Uh,
Okay.
not, I'm not too much into really following all the construction and all of that,
Mhm. Like
but it's
developing the design.
it's more the developing the design, and it will be not full, because that demands a lot of time.
Right.
A lot of
Totally.
time, and if you have this type of
Effort,
personality,
time,
like
and
like me, like
yeah.
we dive in into
Yes.
that. So yes, I to have a good balance, and then on top of that, I started with the community,
Mm-hmm.
and the community now is been 2 years, and also something that I'm very passionate about, and getting together with people that have already even graduated, not only from the University of Miami, have students from FIU, different schools, that they go, and also now colleagues, because when you start working in
L-
the field, you start
Let's
meeting
talk
people.
about the community a little
Yes,
bit so people know what you
yes.
do.
Well, the again, I decided to start with the community because I had some of these students who started practicing,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't know how to go, how to move about.
You have this service soul because I started my
Yeah,
community as well in order for new designers to get involved with
yeah.
designers with experience, and
Mm-hmm.
we all learn from each other,
Exactly.
and we support and we give ourselves data and things like that. So
And then little by little, like I have 20 minutes of, I do a talk, again,
mm-hmm,
part of the teaching. So depending on where in the showroom that because I like to have the whole experience. I like to go and do it with showrooms that are sponsoring. Then now
mm-hmm.
they help me,
What's
to
the
have
name
to
of the
host
community? Is the holistic?
holistic interiors design community.
Yeah, and then students go, also
Graduates, no,
professionals
it
go.
could be anybody.
Yeah,
And now we have a lot of professionals too, and I
good.
like that we have people from different fields now.
Oh, you have no idea how many of
Yes,
my friends would love
because
to
I
listen to
every
this.
topic, like I give a little bit of neuroscience
Mm-hmm.
data, or environmental psychology data as well. Like I give examples. So I have talks, the ones like, for example, luminaire. I did a deep talk about the power of lighting, natural
Uh-huh.
light, and how it's not only for the species, but if you would understand how
The
important.
impact in lives.
Well, it sends the signals and creates, like all of the hormones. So it's involved not only in for helping us to sleep. Everybody knows that, and or
Mm-hmm.
raise your energy level if we have more the
Mm-hmm.
wider light. But
Concentration,
it's also
mood.
reduce pain. The mood and depression
Mm-hmm.
is right there. It has to do also with the reproduction system as well. It has to do, like, if you have you need to have a good circadian cycle that it goes with the lighting, sending those signals. So a good sleep is a good recharge for us, and make a reset of everything. So people that has issues also with weight is related also, with
Wow.
the insulin. Once you start learning about the power of light, no, my world changed, and I understood, because when I came from Colombia to Boston at 4:30 or 5, it was getting dark. By 8, I was like a chicken,
You
like
had no,
I
yeah,
was like
no
falling
energy.
asleep. I'm like, I
Done.
cannot keep up with this.
Yeah, that's why I don't like the daylight savings
Yes,
time.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Because then we are and some people are very sensitive. Like you find, then I
Mm-hmm.
had, clients, and it doesn't matter the age. So that's why I said, with designers, please be careful. It's not like one size fits all. It's not
Mm-hmm.
only the warm lighting, but thank God to technology right now, right? That we
Mm-hmm.
have all of this beautiful lighting as well. Let's say
Yeah,
the
that
recessed
we
lighting
can
that allow us
control
to have the same aesthetics all
different
throughout, but you can change
temperatures.
the temperature.
Mm-hmm.
You can, and then you can have people that are young, but that they have already issues with the sight, and you need to have especially in places that you're going to be doing some work. Then you have to have, the more intense, whiter light.
But
So
this
things
is
like
just
that.
one topic. 'Cause
That's one.
then there is color.
I
The
have talked
influence
about
of color,
color and mood. Yeah.
textures.
Yes,
I was learning. Well, I
I work a
know.
lot with Sherwin Williams that you were talking
Yeah.
about that
Uh
now. Like
huh.
they've been supporting me a lot always. So I've
Amazing.
done that too with them. I have done the one for the scent of the smell,
Smell is
sense,
so important.
so,
Yeah, I
and that,
always incorporate the
right.
smell as part
Good.
of the design
Exactly.
because it senses, it
Yeah.
activates
But then
something
in those 20 minutes, I give talk more about not only directed with design, but also
with
it's about all
lifestyle
your body. Is
wellness.
it what's going on in our body, and then you or anybody who could be a designer or somebody who is also, like
Mm,
I said, somebody who really wants to have a holistic lifestyle.
yeah.
Well, they learn something about how humans, how we are, let's say, made, and then each one will, I tell them, not even what I say, just take it just like that. No, internalize it, make it your own, and then you experience and then that's when, especially as a designer, then I think is when we get the authority to say
Hmm.
it's not only the theory, the practice, but I'm trying to really understand who you are and how I can help you.
It's beautiful to incorporate this. And I think that you, as an educator, should work hard in order to add these in the
Yes.
pensum. No?
Yes. I yeah, I wish, again, like,
Because
and
right
I
now it's not something official that it's in the books, right?
no,
We
no,
don't
because
have
it's
a holistic
no, because
class,
no, I
but we
mean,
should.
yes,
Yes.
exactly. I mean, I wish, but the universities, in general, they have to follow certain parameters,
Mm-hmm.
and but I do think that, especially in a 4-year program right now, hopefully, you're going to see more of neuroscience and architecture,
Wellness.
in because it's essential, and this field is just emerging right now. It's been for quite like even 10 years, I would say, that you could find information, but now is that you see more um universities and scientists, and the beauty of it is that you have the science, like the neuroscientist, but also you have the architects, you have the psychologists, you have, so it's all the different disciplines working together.
Wow.
Isn't
That's
that
so,
amazing?
yeah, amazing.
So that proves us that
But
we need
someone is
we
gonna do it first somewhere, and then we're gonna get it in many years. But you are already like,
there are many people
yeah.
now saying that yes, they are, and their organizations, California, like ANFA, for example,
Mhm.
the Academy for neuroscience, and they're also now even in the shows. And I tell this to my students: if you go to now Salon de Mobile, even to High Point,
Mhm.
now there's organizations
You
talking
know,
about,
there's hotels
yeah,
already focused on wellness, and they
yes,
have some fitness
talks,
tools
or yeah.
in their bedrooms. They take consciousness of wellness. They also have a little bit of nature in their color scheme, or their branding, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. I had
that's the direction.
yeah, I came just I also had the opportunity, and I was so happy. I met this neuroscience, and she studied neuroscience. She's an architect. Her name is Ana Mombriedo from in Spain, and I was in a seminar workshop that they did for neuroscience, architecture, and education. So imagine the impact. 'Cause I really, I think, the more I the more I learn, the more I know that I don't
And
I
then you
don't know
want to share.
anything.
You
And
don't want to keep it. You want
and
everybody to
yes,
know.
and so I spend a lot of time, and yeah, I invest in a lot of, like, going, even when go to the shows. I tell them, even like in High Point here also, again, like
Mhm.
there are these organizations putting these programs together, because the universities is still, they're not yet, they
There.
right now. But my concern is that it was only about, oh, neuroarchitecture. I'm like, no. That's why I said no. It's holistic. It's not that neuroarchitecture and
Mhm.
one is the solution. No. We're very complex, right?
It's a lot
Individuals.
of
It's a
things.
lot of things. So it's not only one thing, but it's just to start
Yeah.
understanding. So that's what I like to promote.
What are the classes that you teach?
Well, I teach, I open the program, and I give most of the first part, which is the first module, which is more the theory. And then so
Uh-huh.
is styles, which
History
I
of
love it.
interiors.
Yeah,
My
styles,
favorite.
history of interiors. I started even enjoying more the styles class after I started learning all of this, more
Mm-hmm.
about the new, because now
Oh,
I can give more
right.
tips and now I can start understanding even better things that we know
Uh-huh.
intuitively, like we get it, but it's to understand
The
like the research
psychology
behind.
behind.
Exactly. So it's really fascinating. And then
And you think back then when these styles started, they had it intrinsic, or they had also their senses when they develop, or when they created the different styles.
you mean how like
For
styles
example,
evolve?
Frank Lloyd Wright,
Hmm.
could he had
He was a
this
highly sensitive person to start
sensitive?
with.
Yes, because
He was a highly,
he used
yes,
textures,
yes,
colors, and light
yeah.
and nature. So
Biophilia, like the
yes.
biophilic methods. Yes, I would say like in some methods, because people is like, but okay, holistic, but how do you do that into
Hmm.
practice? And I tell them, you can. There's different methods that you can apply when you're proposing a design. You can work with the biophilic,
Hmm.
method. You can do feng shui.
Right.
People, have that. I am more into, I say, holistic, because what if somebody doesn't believe? I
Hmm.
compare feng shui, which is fascinating as well, and they have a lot of wisdom within.
Hmm.
But some people, they're just non-believers. It's like
Right.
I compare with religion.
Right.
So to me, it's like there's one
Yes.
God. To me, that one God or the creator, however you want to
Right.
call it, to me is the holistic interior
Hmm.
design. And then within that, there are different ways of practicing, like different religions, let's say.
Hmm.
So what happens if you're Christian and
Yeah,
Catholic,
you don't
then
see it
you have
well.
some rituals and you have
Right.
some beliefs that guides you, but at the
Hmm.
end is the same,
Right. We all
same
have the
thing,
same
but
objective,
different.
either
Right.
you're
Right.
Jewish or anything.
Exactly. But the objective should be wellness. It should be that we design spaces that we're going to have meaningful
Hmm.
experiences.
And that
And
will get the best out of
yeah,
ourselves.
yes, correct. Exactly. So then going back to the styles, yes, I think the styles, I mean, throughout history, they started evolving. And we always now, I would say that we revisit the past and then do some adjustments and then something
Hmm.
else, comes into play. But yeah, there's some specific categories and styles in general, but right now also due to marketing, as you can see right now, sometimes they change names and they start, and that's what I say, okay, we need to really analyze what are the trendy styles, what are, like, let's say, big categories, and
Hmm.
then within there, what I find out is that then some elements are the ones that are going to determine that particular style. Like, let's say, if it's industrial, if it's farmhouse, is it
Yeah.
going to be art
He
deco?
this one his was called Mission Style, right?
Which one?
Frank Lloyd Wright, but it's really more biophilia
He
or
did, yeah, because and I knew to make I learned like he was a highly sensitive person too.
hmm.
That's why, and he was very in tune with nature. He lived in Japan
Hmm.
also for very long, and in Japan and in Asia, again, they're very connected
Yeah,
with nature. They respect nature. They
they do.
understand that we're not detached from nature,
And
but we're
they're
together.
all also in the light tone. So whenever we think that we need calm, I think we need to
Yes,
think of the Japanese
definitely.
and definitely be influenced a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because there is a reason they've been studying this forever.
Yes, and then when you start, especially you start taking the classes for neuroscience and architecture, everything dates back to, again, because how you have to start understanding how the brain was formed for 350 million years. It's like that we started with the primitive brain and how it started, evolving,
Mm-hmm.
and then is so we have that already engraved in ourselves, and there's some things that keep evolving and changing. I just question myself now with technology, what is going to happen with our brains with technology, because we're not going to
Yeah,
be
it's
using,
already happening. It's already happening.
so, but yes, well, and then the other classes is lighting, color, then human factors, which is part of what I
Oh,
like
great.
the
So
most.
you can give a little bit of
Yes, I
all of
put my
these
things there for
always.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I just don't want to look at the time.
I know.
Our time's up, and
Okay.
I feel like I had 30 questions for you. So we have to do a part 2,
Okay.
I think.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much for
No,
coming.
thank you so
This was
much.
so enriching. I love the conversation. I love everything you do. The fact that you want to share it with the world, and then you have a channel to do it through
Yeah.
the students.
Yeah.
I want to be on your next event. I
Yes.
definitely
Thank you.
want to be
For
there with
sure.
some friends that I know are going to appreciate what you are sharing. So thank you.
No, thank you for having me. And yeah, it's a pleasure to share this. And hopefully, we are going to be helping more people through design and the spaces.
I think we're gonna have a lot of comments after this episode, so I will encourage you to reach out, and if you want to know more where to find Aimee and her
And
workshops
the
and the
community, they can meet me
community,
in the community
to
definitely.
please contact us, the
Hmm.
Architectural Authority
Yeah,
podcast, or myself, because I'm going to connect you definitely.
definitely. And we
Thank
should
you.
do more things together too,
Yes, we
right?
will.
Okay.
And after this, we will. Stay
Okay.
tuned for that. Thank
Thank,
you.
thank you. Thank you,
Bye.
Sandy.
Thank you so much for listening to the Creative Talks podcast. Your 5-star reviews really help us continue what we do. Please rate your listening experience, and let's keep building this beautiful community together. For exclusive access to more design content, visit thearchitecturalauthority.com or download our app from the App Store or Google Play. Until next time, take care and keep creating.